Hey guys, what is going on? Joe Cago here, and in today's upload, we will be going over the highlights from my live stream podcast called Losing My Mind. If you want to watch it live, we stream it every Saturday on Twitch, twitch.tv/Joey773. If you cannot make it, the highlights will be uploaded on the channel here, so make sure you guys subscribe. In this episode, we talked about everything related to relationships. Hope you enjoy. I basically, just to give you a little background, I did start this about 3 years ago before I got my full-time job and stuff. The podcast is called Losing My Mind, and it was basically a podcast I wanted to start to talk about things to help you guys get through certain situations in life or whatever the case may be, considering that I'm like twice as older than like most of you know what I mean? So the first topic I wanted to talk about today was relationships, because that was a topic that I wanted to touch on like 3 years back and I never did. But that's basically like the little backstory of this whole thing, is that I started it 3 years ago and I'm basically reviving it 3 years later with more knowledge. But anyways, guys, so in today's episode, we're going over relationships, and I basically have a whole list of things that I wanted to just talk about, and maybe you guys can relate, maybe you guys can't, or whatever. But we're just going to start off with the first thing I wanted to talk about. And the first thing is, I don't know if you guys have ever had interest in someone that doesn't have interest in you. Does any type 1 if that is the case? Type 1 in the chat if you have interest in someone who has zero interest in you. Yeah. I can assume we all relate as to why she don't want me no more. Pain. Where's the pain emote? But yeah, so that's a toughie, guys, because like I've been through that too. You know what I mean? Now, how to go about that when you have interest in someone and and that person doesn't have any interest in you whatsoever? You can, from experience, like you can drop like subtle hints, right? If those subtle hints to the person that you're interested in does not work, honestly, you need to realize that it's not meant to be then. You know what? You need to do your own thing. You need to work on yourself. And maybe the person that you have interest in will see, wow, this guy has his shit together. Wow, this guy is worrying about himself and doing, he's not really paying attention to me anymore, or doing those subtle hints. You know what I mean? So the main thing or advice I could give you guys for that situation is to honestly work on yourself. If you're not going to get any sort of like feedback to the little subtle hints that you're giving, just work on yourself, period. It's the best option for you, because who really wants to go through like constantly trying and trying and trying just to get no results back? You feel me? Did that help? I could go into it more, but I hope that that helps you. You know what I mean? It's better to work on yourself and invest time in someone else. Exactly. Stay single until you're 40. Wise words from C-Dog, who is actually 40 years old, guys. Pay attention. Let me tell you something really quick. Guys and girls, they both have their suits of being harsh fucking people. Very, very harsh. Okay? It's not about like girls ain't shit, guys ain't shit. No. We have both sides. I'm not going to say genders because, yeah, it's like, yeah, whatever. But we have both sides where you can honestly be like uninterested or like a shitty person. You know what I mean? And you could try and try and try, and it's either going to work or it's not. It's about what you want to invest your time in. You want to invest your time into that person that has zero interest and it's clearly not working, or do you want to invest time in yourself, work on yourself, and make that girl or guy be like, wow, that person's not giving me attention anymore. Or wow, like what the hell happened? He was complimenting me or trying to talk to me or get to know me, and now it just stopped cold turkey. Like, you got to think about that stuff. That might fuel the other person to be like, okay, you know what? I'll go to talk to him and see what he's been up to. Anyways, so that's that on that topic. We're gonna go on the second topic. So I know, like, a few years back, I actually had some subs on YouTube when I was streaming on YouTube tell me or give me like a quick, like little topic into the topic or subtopic or whatever. So when it comes to relationships, what is a good like age range, right? Like, what's a good age range? What's too young, too old? What's just right? What do you guys think? Let me know what you think, and then I'm gonna give my honest opinion, and then we could like piggyback off that. What's a good age range for someone like anybody's age? What do you guys honestly think? Tell me. Let me know. Okay, 9 or 10 is young, clearly. But I'm saying, like, 2 years above or below, that's honestly not terrible. You know what I mean? That seems like the most valid answer I've gotten so far. 2 to 3 years, I'd say 2 to 3 years or below or above. Okay, yeah. Here's the thing about, like, ages. It honestly, it matters to a point. And let me explain. If you know for a fact that someone mentally is not capable of being into a committed relationship that you maybe desire, then you have to consider, of course, like, obviously you want to make sure that they're like either legal or if you're under 18, in that range. But what I'm trying to say is if they're not like mentally there to be in a committed relationship with you, then honestly, it honestly just depends on that. The next one I got is how to go about long distance. So this is tough, right? No one obviously wants to go through long distance, but if you started off maybe, like living 5 minutes away from each other to like, oh, one person's going to college, one person is going away to college, one person's not going away to college or whatever, then there's that long distance label. You know what I mean? A long distance relationship. So to break it down, I mean, it has to honestly work like well. Like, it had to work really well if you guys were 5 minutes away as opposed to like being 50 minutes away or something like that. You know what I mean? If you already see and notice like red flags from someone being 5 minutes away, unfortunately, that long distance label and long distance relationship label or whatever is probably not going to work out. And one of you are honestly probably going to make a dumb decision. You know what I mean? Whether you cheat, whether you hang out with another girl and like bring her over, whatever, just hang out, or text somebody in a flirting way. All that is like some sort of aspect of like cheating. You know what I mean? It could be worth it for the right person. Well, yeah, true. But like I said, what entails the right person? You know what I mean? If you're noticing that person is like kind of sketchy, like, hey, you want to FaceTime or hey, you want to hang out? And they're like, not now. No explanation why, just not now. Or making excuses over and over when you guys know you had like a certain like pattern or a certain like, schedule of like whatever. Obviously things get in the way, but if you notice that pattern's like kind of fluctuating, you might want to reconsider the long distance. Relationships, it's nice and all when you are like, together with a person that you want to be committed to and stuff. But remember this, the relationship with yourself is the most important relationship. Let's go into this one, the honeymoon phase. Have you guys been into a relationship where the honeymoon phase is like the best, obviously the best version of yourselves, the best phase, everything? Like, you are literally in those 2 to 5 months, 2 to 6 months, you guys are fucking in love with each other and you barely fucking know each other. Like I said, because I wrote down how long does it last? It can last like 1 to 6 months on average. It could last longer, but if it lasts longer, that shit's like pretty rare and like you got a good thing going on. You know what I mean? So communication is good. It's good to have. Trust, you got to have trust and honesty. I'll just talk about the one real quick about, the one like from high school throughout like my whole time at college or whatever. She like cheated on me 7 times before I found out. And then she like did some other shit, which we'll get into really quick in the next topic. What did you say to her when you found out? Here's the thing, is that I know you guys see me on like video games, like raging, calling people like fucking stupid and blah, blah, blah. If I'm going to be honest, I didn't really get too mad. I think I blew up once, but it wasn't the day I knew that she was like cheating. You know what I mean? I waited like 2 or 3 days. I let that shit sink in. I was like, wow. After all I fucking done, and I'm not perfect, don't get me wrong, but I tried my best, you know what I mean? So the fact that I find out that she fucking cheated on me 7 times, I let that shit process for a couple days. We were when I was living back with my dad, we were swimming in the pool, and I found out, I already knew she cheated, and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about that guy that I've been hearing rumors about. What's going on, right? She goes, nothing's happening, blah, blah, blah. You're all I want. We never cheated. Like, I never cheated on you, all this shit. She literally repeated it because I was like, can you say that for me one more time? And she literally repeated it like 6 times right to my fucking face. Every single time, my fucking heart was like, and this was my first girl that I actually like loved and did everything with, right? So I was like, man, fuck. She's literally lying right to my face. So as she goes home, we're talking, and a couple days later, I actually called her out on her shit. And I'm like, I unfucking real. She calls me crying, saying like, Joey, please, no. And I'm like, you have got to be, I literally was just like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Like, you literally lied to me. You literally lied to me right to my face, right? And that shit's not fucking cool. Like, you're a snake. And I hung up on the phone, and that's it. I never screamed, never did anything, and I've always been that way. And even with the most recent issues with my ex, I did not scream, get mad, nothing. I won't get into detail about what the fuck happened because it's recent. But shit did happen, and I never got fucking like angry or screamed or nothing like I do on video games. Hard to believe, but I'm actually a fucking decent person when it comes to a relationship. The next topic is, you ready? You ready for what she did? What to do if your buddy, your best fucking friend, hooks up with your current or past girlfriend or boyfriend. Yeah, so not only did she cheat on me 7 times, but she also fucked my best friend. Like, come on. Let me ask you, what would you guys do, honestly, if you found out your girl or your guy fucked your best friend? What would you do? Honestly, I don't know what I would do in the moment. I'd just say, give me some time for myself and drink the pain away, fucking snake. Yeah. So I hope you confronted him after. I did. So I literally texted my guy, my buddy, my best friend at the time, and I was like, hey, yo, so what the hell? He's like, what? I'm like, for someone that's like being two-faced as fuck to me, like trying to like get me to play video games with him, go play basketball, whatever, all this shit. Why you fucking my ex-girlfriend behind my back? And he was just like coming up with fucking excuses like, oh, you introduced my ex from fucking 6th grade to one of our other mutual guy friends. I'm like, we were all hanging out one day. I didn't fucking have anything to do with it. We were all hanging out. So he made that excuse, and he was just like, you were just a piece of shit friend. Never did a fucking thing to the guy. I'm like I said, let me reiterate, I'm not fucking perfect, but the fact that you go that low and like do things with my ex, that's kind of fucked up, you know what I mean? I confronted both. I said my piece and I went on my way. I reconnected with both of them actually a couple years later, and I ended up being civil with both. I haven't heard from my ex in like 3 years almost, and I haven't heard from the other guy in probably like a year. You know what I mean? Almost now. But we all like reconnected and we were all like civil, and that's it. And at the end of the day, it felt like good closure for me to just be civil and not hold the grudges, for me to move past all of it. My most recent ex, I would say, never really admitted. I mean, she did actually. She started admitting she was wrong. In the moment, she would never admit it. But like a week later, 2 weeks later, she'd like go back to whatever the fuck happened 2 weeks ago between us and be like, hey, I just want to say like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, 2 weeks later? I accept your apology because I give a fuck about you. But like 2 weeks later, I mean, damn, it's better to just say you're wrong right in the moment and own up to it. And that's it. But she fucking didn't, I should have talked about this topic before the most recent topic, or the past topic we just got done with. But we'll just go back into it really quick. So, how to know when to move on or if the relationship is still fixable. So let's say hypothetically you guys are still together, but it's not, you guys are not seeing eye to eye. It's not the same, Puppy dog love and the honeymoon stage and all that shit is completely fucking over, right? Then you try your fucking ass off, to get to know them more, figure out what they like and don't like, And that didn't work. And you guys are literally hanging by fucking threads to figure out, is this still fixable or is it time to move on? Do you guys have any opinions on what you would do? Because before I speak, what do you think? I would still try. I'm not too sure if I haven't really been in that situation. Well, unfortunately, I've been in it twice. If the relationship is still fixable, you're going to know, right? If you have that thought in your head, like, am I going to do this or say this? And you feel like you're going to be walking on fucking eggshells every time, and anything you say or do is not going to make them happy, nothing, or try to rekindle whatever the fuck was broke, then it's not fixable. If you think that person from like, day one of the fucking puppy dog honeymoon stage or whatever, you remember that moment where your guy or girl was happy and you try that move on them and they reciprocate, the thought or whatever you're trying to do, the action, then there's a possibility it could be fixable. Hopefully that advice helps. If it does, thanks. I mean, you're welcome. And, fuck. But honestly, guys, I had a really good time this last hour and a half almost talking. I only wanted it to go like 45 minutes to an hour, but sometimes you go over. And we had a good discussion today about relationships, whether it be with yourself or with somebody else. I mean, I feel like we talked about a lot of shit. Like, it's a good start to a good thing that I want to start, and I'm hoping that you benefit from this, because most of the time, guys, for the most part, I am like 8 to 10 years older than you guys, and it kind of helps hearing it. It's like I'm like your fucking older brother or some shit or whatever. I'm the teacher, you're the student type of shit. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I don't even want to look at it like that. I don't know, man. I really do think that we had some good topics. Obviously, there could have been a lot more. But this is going to wrap up episode 1 of Losing My Mind, Relationships.